Good morning. Today we're going to talk about the things that we need to know to get started with Java programming. So first of all, what you need to do is you need to go into your IT programming course in Schoology and click on Module 2, Getting Started with Java, and then go down to the Getting Started -- Programming in Java page. On that page, you will find a bunch of different information on the things that you really need to know to get started with Java. The first thing that you see here is a link to the Eclipse user manual. Eclipse is the integrated development environment that we are going to use to code in Java. At first blush, Eclipse looks a little scary, but in reality, it's not that bad. I have a video link here if you click on that, you can do your Getting Started with Eclipse video that I have completed for you. If you cannot get to that video via this link, if you just look up my name, Susan Grasso, on YouTube, you will get to my YouTube channel, and you can access the videos there. There are actually two YouTube channels that I use. I have two different Gmail accounts. So the one where the photograph is me with longer hair, that's the one that you need to click on, and you can get to these programs. The traditional first Java program is the Hello World program. This is the syntax of a very simple Hello World program that simply prints Hello World in your terminal window or your console window. We will use that in just a moment whenever I open Eclipse to just show you some of the things to get started. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is how to get user input. We haven't really talked about how to set up variables yet, but suffice it to say, in Java, you have to have a typed variable. If you're going to have an integer, you need to have an int type. If you're going to have a double, which is basically a larger number, you have to double type, etc. I want to show you this first, but we're going to get a little more into it when I actually start coding. But this code snippet right here is basically to show you how you set up an opportunity for a user to interact with your program. Okay, so first of all, you have to have this line, import java.util.scanner. Notice that that's outside of your class, so you need to put that at the very top of your program. That's an import statement. It's basically importing this class into your program so that you can use it. Then when you go down here, you have your class signature, and then your main method signature here. And then inside the main method, you have to have this line. All this is creating an instance of the scanner class, and I'll explain how this syntax works in a little bit later whenever we actually get into programming. And then these two lines right here, I call them the input couplet. Okay, you have to have this in order to get some user input. If you don't have this line, you'll have a blank screen expecting input. And if you don't have this line, then you'll just go on to the next thing in the program and you will never get user input. So these two go together. This one is simply a statement that's printed out on the screen, and this one takes whatever that user puts in, and in this case it's an integer, whatever that user puts in, and then gives that value to, or assigns that value to this variable. And then what you can do after that is you can actually use that value in any program or the rest of the program. So it's very important to integrate that. Okay. One of the things I just talked about was data types. These are your primitive data types in Java. And this shows you the size, and this basically shows you the range. In other words, if you're going to use an int, it has to be between negative 2,147,483,648 and positive 2,147,483,647. The reason for these ranges is because when you actually, like for instance right here, what you've done here is you have created a space in memory, or an allotment of memory in your program for this particular variable. And in this case, you've allotted 32 bits. If you want to do a long, if you think your number is going to get a whole lot bigger, you know, like for instance, if you're doing some sort of banking program or something like that, then you're going to use a long or a double. A double and a long, both of them are 64 bits, but a double is actually even bigger than a long. So I don't see that very much in the programming that we'll do, but that may be something. These are just things that you need to keep in mind for later. Now these are numerical types. There are other types. There's char, and then there's string, which actually isn't a basic data type, but it acts like one. So a lot of times people just, roll those all into one. Okay, the next thing on the page is talking about variables and the rules for naming them. It's very important that you understand the naming rules for variables in Java, because you don't want to, create an illegally named variable. So check these out and make sure that you don't do those. You also cannot use these keywords as your variable. So you can't say int enum. Why you would do that, I don't know. But just suffice it to say that you cannot do that, so make sure that you don't.